Today on Across the Fence, we'll learn about a program for aspiring farmers. It's the UVM Farmer Training Program. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Oftentimes when we think of agriculture, we think of family farms and people who have farmed for generations. But if you're looking to plant yourself in a new field of work, UVM offers an agricultural program that requires no farming experience. It's a program that provides skill-based education rooted in sustainable farming. To find out more, I'm joined by the co-directors of the UVM Farmer Training Program, Sarah DeSantis and Rachel Stevater. Thank you both for coming in. It's great to have you.
Thanks so much for having us.
So, Rachel, tell us about the Farmer Training Program.
So it's a 6-month certificate program. It's run through UVM's College of Ag and Life Sciences, in particular the Plant and Soil Science Department. It takes place at Catamount Farm, which is at UVM's Horticulture Research and Education Center, and that's in South Burlington. And it's an incredibly immersive and hands-on program. We are primarily focused on vegetable production, but we have evolved the program over the past few years to include small fruit production and orchard management, as well as raising animals. So we're exposing students to quite a bit.
So Sarah, what other kinds of things do they learn about these things?
So it's
comprehensive.
It's a super fun program, first of all, is what I should say.
That's
so
important.
that's the one thing, is you learn how to have fun if you don't already on the farm. But about 30% of it is in the classroom and 70% is out in the field. So it is really hands-on, full-time, 35 hours a week. In the field, they're learning how to harvest, how to pick, and then in the wash station, how to pack out CSA shares, how to go to farmer's market. They learn tractor safety and operation. They learn how to use irrigation systems. Very hands-on. Also,
very practical.
Yeah, how to raise broiler hens or broiler chickens. And then in the classroom, we have a bunch of curricular threads. So most importantly, I think, is soil fertility management, pest and disease management, weed management, small-scale livestock production, which Rachel mentioned. We also do business planning and farm financials, how to start up a farm. And then recently we've added a whole series on food justice in the food system, because we really believe it's super important to look at racism and classism within the food system. So that's been a new component to the program. And they don't only learn from us. Rachel and I co-direct the program, but we have 2 other instructors that are alumni of the program. And then they go to visit. We bring in over 50 guest speakers from agricultural extension agents, plant and soil scientists, farmers, representatives from agricultural nonprofits. So it's really an amazing way to get connected to the agricultural community here in Vermont. I didn't get to meet all these people, and I've been farming for a couple decades until I started working on the program. So it's really
Rachel, who do you find are enrolling in the program? Who?
It's quite the mix. So we get students from all over the country, and on the young end, we get students in their early 20s, but then we're also getting students in their late 50s, early 60s. Predominantly mid to late 20s, early 30s, but really in demographic, it's a wide spectrum. And some of our students are coming because a traditional college experience didn't work out for them. Some of our students have a little bit of farming experience but want to fill in the gaps, the places that they don't feel like they got information just being a field hand on a farm. Some of our students are career changers, and then some of our students are looking for what they want to be doing later in life, kind of a retirement career.
So Sarah, what does a typical graduate end up doing after the program?
Yeah, and to just dovetail off a little bit what Rachel was saying, we also get people who don't necessarily want to farm. They want to do something within the food system. So some people want to be agricultural writers, or they want to be educators, or they want to work as an activist or an advocate in the food justice system. So most people will go on to work on a farm after the program. Some, usually we have 4 to 5 out of 25 students go on to start their own farm pretty quickly after the farmer training program. And we usually say, unless you have a lot of experience, maybe go work on your ideal farm before you go start a farm, because go learn from them, their mistakes, and then start. But we do have a lot of people that will go work for institutions like the food bank or the food shelf or some kind of advocacy program. But most people go to work on a farm, either managing a farm or as farm help, and then eventually a lot of people will go on to own their own farms here in Vermont. A lot of people will actually end up staying in Vermont, or they go back to their home states.
Great. And Rachel, why is Vermont such a good location for this? And tell us a little bit more about the connection with the Vermont agriculture community.
Sure. I think Vermont is a great place for this program for a number of reasons. I think a big one is that Vermont is really seen across the country as a model in food systems development. And I think part of the reason for that is that Vermont already has, it has such a strong agricultural heritage. So it's a very receptive state to just wanting to see, agriculture thrive, and then in particular, small-scale diversified ag thrive. So, Vermonters were, I feel like they have been, if they're not growing and raising their own food, they've been, buying locally and supporting their neighbor farmers before that was a trendy thing. So Vermont is a bit ahead of the rest of the country in that regard.
And then our host farms too.
So in terms of the networking end of things, so as Sarah mentioned, we're bringing in farmers and UVM extension agents to teach some of our classes. We take our students on field trips every month, and so we're exposing them to what the myriad ways that successful farms can look in this day and age. And then we also have partnerships with area farms. We're working with Intervale Community Farm, which is right here in town, and Bread and Butter Farm, which is in Shelburne, and Adamsbury Farm, which is in Charlotte. So our students...
And the farm between this year,
we
this added.
Is new. Yep. And the farm between is in
Jeffersonville, and they do a lot of pollinator habitat and perennial habitat. So
great.
Yeah. So for a day a week throughout the program, our students get to work on one of these farms. And once again, it's just great exposure for our students to see. We think these are all great examples of what a well-run farm operation can look like, and so they get just hands-on and really
and they also get a class each time they go to the program, or to the farm. So when they go to the farm between, they're going to get a class on how to design the landscape to attract more pollinators. So it's mostly hands-on at the farm, but they also get a class, which is really great.
So what about the costs for this program? It is through a university, so it's not inexpensive.
Yeah, it's not inexpensive. It is a non-credit program, so luckily they're not paying per credit, because it is 35 hours a week for 6 months. So this year it's $6,300 plus expenses. You have to pay your living expenses. And then materials for the program is about $200. We want you to come with rain boots and rain pants.
So actually for 6 months it's not
It's not bad for 35 hours a week of instruction. So yeah, but it is unfortunately not attainable for all students, so we're working to fundraise for scholarships to allow lower income people to be able to take the program.
Great. And Rachel, what's the difference between this program and, say, apprenticing at a farm?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that the students, as we've already mentioned, they're getting the practical, they're getting the hands-on, they're getting the how to do this work. But then we also have the luxury of taking the time to slow down and explain the whys behind the hows. And then, as Sarah mentioned, they're getting the planning and the managerial side of things. They're getting the entrepreneurial side of things. So it's, I think, we often are telling students that they're getting a lot in these 6 months. It can be kind of overwhelming how much information they're getting. And it may take them, 2, 3, up to 5 years to get the same amount of information if they were, an apprentice or a field hand on an operation, just because of how, once the season gets going, it's really busy on a farm, so they don't always get the background
focused
info. Yeah.
And the other part of it is that they're expected to write a partial business plan, they're expected to write a partial crop plan, a partial soil fertility management plan, and we're going to give them feedback on that. And even after they leave the program, we're here as resources. So that is an amazing, to be able to write a business plan, that's one of the first things you have to do to be able to start up a farm. So we provide that service as well.
And quickly, what does a typical week look like?
Well, it's a lot of fun, as I said. Well, Monday and Tuesday, they're learning in the field, so they're learning their hands-on skills. So each one of the instructors, Rachel teaches how to do a CSA, community-supported agricultural box, and she teaches how to harvest, how to wash, pack. I teach tractor safety and operation. So for 1 month, they're going to be in small groups. 5 of them will be with Rachel. Then the next month, they'll be with me. The next month, they're going to learn irrigation systems and how to direct seed and transplant. And then another month, perennial production. So Monday and Tuesday, they're learning hands-on skills, actually getting their hands dirty. Wednesdays and Fridays are our classroom days when we bring, in the mornings, we bring in all our instructors. And then Thursdays, they get to go to the other farms and really get to experience
hands-on.
Hands-on.
Well, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for all this information. How can folks get more information?
They can visit our website, which is a pretty long website, but it's learn.uvm.edu/program/farmer training, or you can just Google farmer training program, that'll come right up. And you can call my direct line, 802-656-5863. We do have tours once a month, June to October, to come visit the farm and also the program. So feel free to do that.
So you could check it out. So
you can come see what the students are doing. Yeah.
Sarah and Rachel, thank you so much for coming in, and good luck with your current class.
Thank you so much, Fran.
And thank you for joining us Across the Fence.